neither condone nor abide by this fucking recording session happening in my kitchen.
Psychedelic Space Beef Band. God damn it.
She's hungry for Mongolia barbecue and dick.
Basically, what's going to happen is every week we're going to offer to suck Mark.
Steven, do you realize how bad of an idea this was? This is an idiotic. So it's another episode. Yeah, exactly. How Backstreet Boys. Like, what are you doing? Do you know what you're doing?
Shit, we got to be over here.
Like, as a friend, come on, guys.
An incredibly poor decision and literally betrays everything that the beef session is about.
God damn.
Tonight, just me and Steve. Steve.
We gotta talk about our weekends.
Yeah, we had very different weekends.
Yes. You want to talk about yours first? I have a lot to get off my plate.
I was hoping to go into mine a little later. The story's fun, but it's really
right.
about your weekend in Ojai.
Oh, it wasn't in Ojai.
Was it? Where was it? Where is it?
It's like Riverside.
Riverside. Wait, is there wildlife in Riverside?
Yes, there is.
There is. Riverside is a shithole.
Yes, it is.
Oh, I guess technically part of the south end of Joshua Tree is in Riverside, so I should have already known that. So that would mean that Desert Springs and all that's in Riverside, huh?
I don't really remember. I wasn't that focused on where it was.
Sure, you weren't like going autist Google Maps mode. I
just need to know
that.
where it was so I can get there.
Sure.
You know?
I don't know why I thought it was in Ojai. That's what I told everyone, so they'll probably say the same thing.
I'm not going to disclose what the festival was, what the event was, and who the people were.
I don't think anyone's interested in that.
I don't think anybody knows about it.
This is not investigative journalism, so
no,
I think we're okay.
But it's a job where this is a chance for me to vent out my weekend. And you haven't heard about this yet. I have not told you anything about it.
You didn't tell me anything.
Okay, good.
When you called me about how shitty it was, I could hardly hear you on the phone. And I was like, oh, Steve's got some shit to say.
Yeah, I got some.
And you may have mentioned certain things that I couldn't hear them. So I was like, I'm just going to wait to meet up with the Punish Boy.
Yeah. I learned a lot this weekend, Eric.
I'm really curious to hear.
And I learned so much.
Sounds like it.
And I found out so much about the modern hippie. Eric?
The modern hippie.
I spent 5 days in hippie hell. For the most part, the people I actually worked with were actually nice and pretty good.
Oh, you usually.
But they weren't hippies.
Any event, And the workers are fine.
Yeah, the staff is,
workers, how shitty can you be as a worker? You're going to get fired.
They're there to
if you're not, customers are shit.
They're there.
Workers are okay.
They're there to do a job. We're here to do a job.
Bosses, I don't know about that, but workers, fine. Customers, shit.
Okay.
We all know. Anyone that's worked with customers, you know this.
Well, they're not necessarily. Well, are they customers?
If they're paying money for a service or a product or anything, they're customers.
Anyway, so essentially, what do you know about modern hippies?
I know literally nothing.
Okay.
As far as I know, the hippie movement started in the ashes of the beat movement and had its rise in San Francisco in the early 60s. And then it went mainstream by 1967 and attracted a lot of people that were interested in hippie ideals like free love and drugs, but were not actually interested in the ideals of the hippie movement. So that fucked everything up, combined with the silent majority thing coming back and everyone, pushing back on these radical lifestyles and returning to a more stable America. And hippies either, they lived on their communes and then died of syphilis or like starvation or whatever, the whole original hippie movement failed spectacularly. In terms of modern hippies, I don't know why anyone would retry it, because the whole police state they worried about back then is only amplified by about 3,000 nowadays. So you can't really do the whole thing over again. The police learned their lesson there.
Well, that's you hit the nail on the head, Eric, and that's the guy.
I can thank Jack Kerouac for that.
That's the brief history of the hippie movement. On a cultural level, it was very much Eastern.
Oh yeah, very Buddhist,
very a lot of Hindu
and Zen.
If
we're going Jack Kerouac, my boy.
This is I think the hippie thing was very derivative of Kerouac. They took.
Oh yeah.
I mean, like the guy, like the Grateful Dead, like Jerry Garcia was a huge fan of Kerouac, and they got to hang out with Neil Cassidy. They would live at his house.
Oh hell yeah. Man, that'd be a fun time.
And Ken Kesey and all that stuff. Those were like the original like OG hippies, and those concepts of like.
That's a different mindset, it's not communism, but it's certainly anti-capitalism. I feel like it's less of a socio-political idea than more of like a lifestyle.
Yeah.
That was, to be honest, only possible because of probably certain capitalistic things done by America. There was a certain point in time where we were so fruitful and productive that these people could attempt something like the hippie movements. These weren't like poor black kids going out and living in hippie communes. I think these were like college grads and college dropouts, white kids.
Yeah.
It was a time where this thing could have happened.
Okay, you and I are Beatles fans, right?
Oh, of course. That was my first band I liked. Aside from the, my like Spice Girls, Backstreet Boys days, where my older sister determined everything I listened to in the late 90s.
Nice. Well, I got a question. Do you remember the story of George Harrison going to Haight-Ashbury in '67?
I've actually never heard that story.
Oh, okay.
I know he was pals with the boy in India, Ravi Shankar.
Okay, so like George Harrison obviously was really he was
a very spiritual guy.
He hit the spiritual bug early,
more than the other guys, it seemed, at least.
And he basically, was really into the sort of '60s psychedelic, finding things. He was
to be honest, that time sounds awesome to live in. I'm sure all the things we don't hear about are even more interesting. But like, what a time!
But
where you can do that, where like America's wealthy enough and everyone's white enough to not get killed by the cops, so you can pursue these things.
Yeah, only get killed by the Kong.
Yeah.
They were all being sent to Vietnam if you're gonna die. So that was.
But anyway, I digress. Continue.
Point was George Harrison. We all know him as a very spiritual dude, and was really into like. He was going. He heard all that stuff about Haight-Ashbury, about the place of like it was the new. What's the right word?
So it was like the capital of the movement.
It was ground zero. So
I don't know if I call it ground zero, but it certainly was the capital.
He was expecting to basically see a bunch of like a very tight knit community of like giving and craftsmen and like people making music and things like that. And basically what he did when he went to Golden Gate Park, went to Haight-Ashbury, he was horrified by college.
The amount of black people there.
About the amount of college dropouts. and
He was so racist. Sorry, you took too long to deliver. My bad.
It's gonna take 10 minutes for me to get to the point of what happened at this weekend because you keep coming in on this. Anyway, the whole point was he was like horrified that it was just a bunch of spotty dropouts who were just there just to take drugs and just flail about and not really participate in anything.
I feel like George knew a thing about that in the Hamburg days. I wonder why he was so sour about it then.
Because he wasn't woke.
Yeah. He probably also wasn't 16 anymore. I think
yeah.
He got deported.
When you're 16, you can fuck around and pop pills and fuck hoes. So
well, I mean, the college system in America is fucked. I don't blame anyone for dropping out. So I wouldn't limit.
College system then was okay.
It was
when
better.
They had it for free.
Certainly better.
They had state paid tuition and stuff like that, and there was deferment. You could get draft deferment in the college systems.
That's true. That was nice.
So there's a lot different than it was now.
Yeah, for sure.
We're gonna get on another tangent if we're not careful.
Yeah, let's continue here.
So my point was he was pretty much like horrified of like a wasted opportunity.
Right.
And it was just like it was not what he expected.
Oh, I don't doubt that. Reading Fear and Loathing, I seem to believe that the real crescendo or watermark, as Thompson described it, I think was in the
peak of the wave.
Peak of the wave, yeah, was in a couple years before that. Was when it was really happening.
66 was the kind of heightened, like that was the.
I forget
trips.
what year he said in the novel, but it was certainly before 67.
Yeah, I think
so.
67.
The kind of failure of the hippie movement is something, it's like how they always say, like, oh, normies ruin everything, like they showed up to Haight-Ashbury and were not. They were just there for the pussy and the drugs.
The Summer of Love was basically like the capitalization of it.
Yeah.
So that, not to get too heavy into the history of that, even though it's the 50th year. But basically what I'm trying to tell you is that I had a George Harrison experience at this festival. And
That's not
essentially,
surprising.
I could just start right from the beginning.
Let's go into it, man.
My job was to babysit a sound system to make sure it was not blown up by DJs.
Sounds easy enough.
Yeah. It was a thing where basically I found out the place was kind of being run in a sense of like, yeah, it's all loose and, for the most part, it's pretty cool. And I found out, and I knew I was going in, I knew I was going to, with my work cut out for me.
Oh, yeah.
Because you know what? These places, I was the first thing I asked when I got the call for the job, is there any beef?
Ooh,
I swear.
that's a good question. Yeah.
And there was
some hippie shit. You
there was
never
a
know.
vendor that served beef.
Hey.
So I was good. I was like, okay, because I was
You
thinking
can at
I
least
might
fall
have to-
back on the beef,
And
Some
And-
hippie DJ retards, at least you can go fucking get that steak.
yes,
Or burg or whatever,
yeah. And
That's a relief.
and so the stage I was working at was basically
How many stages were there, by the way?
there was like essentially there was total 5, officially 3.
Okay, so
There was some Burning
one
Man,
big one,
there's
two
a lot
side
of-
ones, and 2 underground ones. Or
There was a lot
whatever.
of Burning Man camps running around, like 2 of them. I was running one of the stages that was put together because they hired too many DJs.
So would you be on the power ranking 4 or 5?
3.
Okay, so you're actually you were
Of
part
the-
of the
of the
legitimate
official, yeah.
stages.
And rightly so, the 2 other ones took priority.
Yeah.
So I show up, we set the system up the day before. The next day, I meet what is going to become the stage manager, and I find out he's also a DJ on the list. And he not only did he book the shows and schedule the shows, he co-sponsored the stage through his company. So he thinks he's
All right.
he thinks he's this big bad boss, and he's looking for me to solve all his problems. Like
That sounds fun.
like where's the stage? Where's the
toilet?
Where's
Over
the
there.
where's the
Where's the
where's the
weed,
pizza?
dude?
Where's the alcohol? Where's
Where's
the
the
ice?
pizza?
Where's the It's like he wants to know, like, that's not my job. You are the stage manager. That is your job. So basically, it was a bunch of people
Jeez.
that did not want to.
fuck?
They
Was he
essentially
wasted the whole time?
it comes off kind of weird, but like that kind of I am like better. I am better than you, kind of like Mediterranean thing.
Uh-huh.
So that was sort of like a,
He was just an asshole.
the whole idea is that all these DJs, and I
An
don't know.
asshole from a culture of assholes.
Sure, I don't know if you knew about about like DJ culture or DJ.
I don't know shit.
Okay, so this is where basically I go into my rant about DJs. DJs
The fucks.
are, and these are house music DJs.
Okay.
The worst kinds of DJs.
I feel like you'll find bad kinds all around.
I can find good ones too.
Yes, but to say one genre is worse than the other, I don't know.
I have a trouble blurring the genres because I can't tell the difference between genres.
Sure.
So
And many people would claim then you have no credibility to criticize them,
You
but
know
I
what?
would disagree.
here's what I hear. Like.
Oh, I'm with you. I just wanted to say.
Yeah, no, I can understand that's the argument of like, well, you clearly just don't know what the difference because you can't tell the mild inconsistencies between
Yeah.
between that little offbeat and that little synth pad. See, I do it in a style that's this, and it's like one beat off.
Yep. It's like
You know
Vanilla
what?
Ice claiming that he didn't rip off Queen and fucking David Bowie.
You know what? I'll believe you when you change your kick drum beat off 4 on the floor, or change it, speed it up, or slow it down, because 120 to 125 BPM at 4 on the floor does not change.
Yep,
This
didn't change a damn
so
thing.
the sets were basically from.
Probably only changed that for legal reasons, not to actually it's not an artistic choice.
I don't think they're thinking about legality.
Oh, you know they are.
I don't think they are. These sets were starts from 3:30 in the afternoon,
Uh-huh.
and it didn't stop till 11 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
So like that's what a 16-hour set, huh?
that was a 16-hour set. Started back up on Saturday.
Wait, actually I think isn't that longer? That's a 20-hour set, right?
That's a 20-hour set. Yeah.
So you get the full 9 and then 11. So you have 20 hours. Damn.
And then
So your 4-hour breaks from fucking 11 a.m. to 3 p.m.
No, because that was just Friday. Because Friday got the thing rolling, right? Friday
Right.
often starts later sometimes because they're still setting up and people coming in.
Oh, so after that, it's 24 hour.
Well, almost. It was the Saturday set went from 1:30 in the afternoon to 9:30 in the morning.
Okay, so it's still the same.
It's
20
shifted-
hour, but
shifted.
even earlier.
Yes.
Damn.
And then the kind.
And you're required to be there.
I'm required to kind of be in presence, like around, and be able to handle things if things go wrong. There wasn't a lot to work on. I signed out backline for the gear that I am financially responsible for. And also being the representative of the system tech of the PA system, I'm also responsible for things that go wrong on that. So that being said,
Okay, so
I
you
am
need to
kind
make
of-
sure nothing goes wrong
They're-
all hours.
someone has to be like on a radio there and radio me while I'm sleeping if something goes wrong.
Right,
There was
right.
no person to do that. Now
Oh, they didn't hire or they didn't show up.
This was last minute kind of little budget sort of thing.
Uh-oh.
Last minute little money. So now that being said, it's not that hard. I made sure the system wouldn't blow up because those guys would thump bass all night long.
Yeah, you know that.
Yeah, and
You know your gear.
I know that I made
You
sure.
know they're not idiots that are also working there.
Well,
Well, maybe you didn't know at the time, but you know.
I knew that I knew the DJs were idiots that didn't have any presence of loudness.
Sure, but you trust the engineers, hopefully, to not fuck everything up while you're sleeping.
there was no engineers. It's just me. Like if it was during the day, I could be in range and their staff would be available to get to, if that would happen. At night, harder to do that.
So you were taking
the
time
stage
off.
manager maybe, but he had no access. He had no way to communicate. This guy was such a terrible leader or manager. He had no phone and he had no radio because he made so many enemies with.
But he was legally responsible if something happened.
No, I was. I'm working with a team. The production team was pretty reasonable and they were pretty good. And with me going off,
It was probably like a leap of trust. Like,
I'm sure, yeah.
trust these guys.
Now I would leave at times and they didn't blow stuff up.
Right.
And
right.
sometimes I had help to come in and help me. So you're right. Some people did come in while I was out.
Yeah.
Anyway, the point being is there were point in times where it was just long and drying out and
Boring.
And
Just listening
boring.
to
listening to the same stuff.
28-minute remix.
I
of-
didn't. There would be the DJs all knew each other, which
Oh,
I
yeah,
guess
they're probably all rolling.
they're all
They don't care.
they're all in the same scene.
Yeah.
And
Riverside's a whole thing.
what the scene or
No, it's like San Bernardino's really more redneck. Riverside's
All
like
these-
in between.
all these guys
like
were
redneck
from
in LA.
It didn't matter. All these guys were from LA doing
the
Santa.
fans?
No, the players.
But I'm saying, but the fans though.
Fans came out from all over, and there weren't that many fans. It was
I guess I underestimate if it's anywhere near LA.
It's a hippie fest thing. It's like people drive out to Coach. This is like
Yeah, true.
know, like, people go to these
I'd rather
places.
see a festival at Riverside than Coachella. Yeah, when you put it like that.
and people go out
Yeah,
to
sure, man.
these were like, and these were all Burning Man types.
Fans or DJs or both.
The fans
Okay.
and maybe the DJs, but their whole deal is to spin like house music nonstop to tripped out attendees.
Sure.
And I have to kind of preface this because I kind of just went into it.
Yeah.
As I was told that this would be kind of like a fun reggae fest full of like.
Someone described it as reggae.
It was originally I was told it was like a reggae thing.
Oh,
And
they
I would have
fucked up there.
I would have been much down with.
I could have told you that's not what it was going to be.
Are you aware this is what hippies listen to?
I can tell you hippies don't listen to reggae.
Yeah, they do.
Not often.
Yeah, they do.
The hippies here?
Yeah,
So it was a reggae fest.
it was not a reggae fest, but hippies do listen to reggae. It's a thing.
I feel like Rastafarians listen to reggae.
Yeah, but some hippies identify with Rastafarian culture.
I guess maybe that's more the modern hippie thing that
That's the thing. Yeah,
you can't really get acid anymore. So yeah, I guess you get weed.
there was a lot of acid there, but
Well, it's probably mostly test drugs or what they call them, trial acid, or it was a certain term because you can't really get clean acid anymore.
sure. I don't know how that world works.
There's a certain person we both knew and we're in a band with for a while that gave me a rundown on why there's not really much clean acid anymore.
Oh, I trust him. I guess I guess he has his facts somewhere. But anyway,
And his acid too.
sorry,
And his acid somewhere too.
does he make his own acid?
No, I'm just saying.
So the hippies.
Yeah.
These were. I have found out that. I mean, I never took them stuff that seriously anyway. Because every time they're like, "This is so wonderful. We're all here together and this being spiritual while the world is like all terrible." I'm like, this is. I don't know. Every time I explain myself, I have to drive the energy to like frustrate it. I'm almost done with my venting. In general, not to you, but just in general, of like explaining to like my sister or my dad,
Sure,
or my uncle or anybody, just like the backwards thinking put involved by this thing, which is basically the whole idea of this festival is like to get everybody together in like a oneness, all like a wholeness. We're all together. We're all connected. Honestly, I was actually funny enough. I was watching the Adam Curtis film, All Watched by Machines of Loving Grace.
Did you end up watching any of it?
I got through this 2/3 of it,
Okay.
and I'm trying to understand it for the most part.
I didn't think it was that hard to understand. We could talk about this off the air,
yeah.
but anyway, continue.
Anyway, that was when they made it.
That was the backdrop of.
That was the kind of backdrop of what I was coming into.
Right.
And the idea of like the whole reason that Curtis was talking about the communes not working.
Right. Yeah, you can have these ideals, but the social structures and hierarchies still are going to form the power hierarchies. They still establish themselves.
So
you never mentioned anything about beefers though, because I still got a theory.
I don't know if you knew this. I've been calling you the Beefer General.
I'll take it.
I was just thinking about monkey dust all the time. Like, I am the Beefer General.
Oh, I'll take that.
And I declare you all queefers. You are gay. Do you fiddle dumb?
God, that fucking season 3 was so good.
Oh, the
whole show.
That whole pedo finder.
Lost Beat 6 officially got to recommend Monkey Dust. That is a phenomenal show.
Oh,
R.I.P. and Pepperoni, whatever his name was that created it, but he knew his shit.
So anyway,
but yeah, if you ran about it so many times, you seem to lose the original frustration. I get that.
Yeah, so I'm trying to. I should have maybe written this down and like compartmentalize this whole thing. But the thing where
give me your biggest beef.
Okay,
give me a point I can maybe debate with or agree with or whatever.
I was hoping to not do as much debating, but
I probably won't need to debate it based on what I've heard so far.
Yeah,
I'll probably be like, shit, man.
I got the highlights of what was the best points.
Give me some shit I can react to.
Okay, so here's the thing, hippies, right?
Hippies, man.
Y'all stink.
Yeah, I'm sure they do.
Literally, they all stink.
Oh no! If you're not washing yourself in any way, that's.
But not only that, they're not like they're in like weird fear of like the proper like deodorant because they're in fear of like the chemicals and rashes it gives you.
Oh, they got the Alex Jones like fluoride in the water shit.
Fuck yeah, like like that whole thing of like,
right,
and then like not only that, half these ladies don't even like shave their armpits, and I'm not sure if that's like a cultural thing.
I don't think that affects anything.
It doesn't, but it throws me off.
Sure.
It assumes that I don't think you take care of yourself, and I know that's like a zeitgeist thing, and not necessarily like
I've got a differing opinion on the armpit thing, but it certainly wouldn't help good smells if you have hair in your armpit.
Yeah.
I don't know if it hurts. It certainly doesn't help.
Yeah, and most of the stuff...
That's another discussion.
Sure.
But, armpit hair...
I'll live with that. I'll settle with that.
Sure.
And that comes off of me being some sort of like, just cut your hair, you goddamn hippies. Like, that's what I come off like that, but I don't know. It's like, that's the frame of method I think of. And maybe that's just me coming off as slightly myopic or ignorant about the concepts, but I'd love to figure out why people do that or don't do that. I'd like to know why people shave their armpits too. Yeah. Where that came about, because eventually someone had to do that first, and maybe if it was the Romans or whatever, I can't tell. But like,
there's always going to be various pros and cons to trimming your body hair. Most of it is due to functionality, but in these days, usually it's due to aesthetics or vanity.
Yeah, sure.
But I'm sure the origins are going to come from a certain practical cause.
Okay. So
But anyway, to continue with your biggest gripes
So
about the late hippies.
okay, so my stage that I worked at was essentially it had hippies in as like dancing. I don't know where they learned. I don't know where the whole
Were they
house-
dabbing?
They weren't dabbing.
Shit.
A lot of our staff was dabbing. That was awesome.
Nice. I can dig it.
They were, but these were more like people just like undulating till the break of dawn sort of types, and they're all
Sure.
wearing. I was promised a sense of like.
Some of them may have been
I was-
trying to
I was
not
also-
suffer a mental breakdown. You know, they were just like,
I was
oh god.
I was promised also nude orgies.
Someone promised you that.
I mean, they were. I'm exaggerating on the promised part.
The nude
You wanna-
orgies happen in the
if you-
church.
if you-
they usually don't happen outside the church.
I mean, yeah,
It's
you
the
gotta
bigger
go pretty,
cover,
you gotta
biggest
go-
cover for fucking pedos ever.
Oh yeah.
That Catholic church.
Okay. That's
Oh,
where
I
you're
don't
going
care
with
about
that.
God, but I want to, get my uncle. What's his face is a priest. Let me hit him up.
Like, if I would understand like being in the nature and doing the nude thing, that makes a lot more sense than like the clothes people wear. These okay, okay.
You can't really do that on the level of attendance. You can't really get away with.
It was in a state park, so I don't
Especially
know.
like we got our hashtag Me Too. You can't do that stuff now. You can't have the nudism. Like men
I'm
are all
dis-
rapists.
I'm
Like
dis-
you can't do it.
It makes me sad.
Yeah, can't do it.
I think, but in my personal opinion, I think they were more interested in what they were wearing than what they were not wearing. If you want to get my
well, if
drift
we're,
on
if we're
that
just
whole
going
thing.
on statistics,
based,
yeah, probably.
based on what I saw there, they were far more into themselves and the clothes they were wearing and free expression type of stuff of their clothes than like all the weird ass leggings they all had. Or like, here's the funny thing, in the giant fur coats, even though the majority of the restaurants were vegan.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's a big gripe I have. Okay, so
That's pretty bad.
I gotta build this story up. So first night, and I'm working with the stage manager. He would go off for like hours on end, come back, even though I think his job was to kind of be there.
His job was to shoot lines and fuck.
And he was just shooting lines. I can't say if he was fucking. He probably was.
I mean, come on, man.
I know who wasn't. I was also promised. Yeah, that was another promise that got broken. That may have been the clincher of the broken promises.
I had a hunch about this.
Poor salesmanship, false advertising. It was more false I will say it was more false advertising than broken promises.
I would believe that.
Because advertisements don't promise you anything.
Well, they
But
used to. Thanks, Edward Bernays.
One of the things that are worse than DJs are DJ managers.
I'd believe that.
Because my theory is that you have DJs. Being a DJ is essentially not that hard, especially with today's computer programming to sync up everything for
It's
you.
like, would you rather deal with a screaming toddler or a screaming toddler's like stressed out, angry mom? The toddler, you're just like, shut up.
yeah,
The mom?
That's a perfect
You
example.
know, like fuck.
yeah, that's
They're dealing with the toddler.
yeah. I was gonna go in this deeper thing of like how they have more time on their hands than they need to. Then like managers are usually helping you manage your time when you're too busy to work. And if you're like a musician, you're better off having a manager to help you like manage the business elements of like what you're trying to do, so you could focus on
the music. You know,
practicing,
supposedly the
writing,
thing that
rehearsing,
you
recording,
are
playing.
called an artist for.
Yeah. So this manager comes in, and she's all dressed to the kilt or the hilt or whatever, and she goes, "Where's the alcohol?" I'm like,
Right
No.
here, bitch.
yeah.
Where's the
And-
mayo? Right here. Talking about the perfect cocktail.
Anyway, I go, I don't know where the alcohol is. There's supposed to be alcohol. It's on the rider. I'm like, do you think people are paying attention to your freaking rider?
It's like, does my badge say alcohol? Like,
Yeah, no, I am-
vendor?
I am
like,
the-
my badge
Are you the
says
stage
fucking
manager? Like, no, I'm not the
audio engineer or whatever.
Yeah, I am the system tech for this stage.
You know, like, you fucking take your Xanax. Like, get the fuck out of here. Like, why are you yelling at me?
And apparently they all know the artist relations, I guess. And basically, she comes up and goes, "Okay, I'm now the stage manager." I'm like, "Okay, whatever." There's another guy here who says he's a stage manager too. Turns out they're friends, so they all worked it out, and it's all. There wasn't even like a argument
I'm
over
the
it.
stage manager now.
It's like, okay, you just found this out now. Okay, so she starts like micromanaging everything. She said she had ADD, and I'm like, I don't have the
That
tolerance.
doesn't sound like a managerial quality.
No. But you know what? She wasn't there to manage. She was there to party, like the rest of them. She was the
everyone
most
there.
useless thing of that
Except
whole.
probably you.
Yeah, she was the most useless.
An interim stage manager. That just sounds bad.
Oh God, it was
Even
terrible.
if they would be good at their job, just the idea of that.
And that
Interim coaches don't do well. Interim stage manager? That doesn't sound good.
no, eventually I went back, got some sleep, whatever. But I just noticed all these people. There's security there during the day, but during the night they all went to bed.
Yeah.
And that's what I needed. I was befriending the security team enough to say, let me know. Here's my number. If they start breaking shit,
Yeah, right.
call me so I can go to bed. Because I mean, if I have someone I can get in contact if something's going wrong, they can get a hold of me.
Sure,
I'm
you
not
can.
that far away. I'm camping with the rest of them.
Yeah, you're in the vicinity.
So it's the morning, and everybody's wearing these giant coats. The first night was actually cold, and then it got hot for the rest. The heat wave came right after. So
And what a heat wave it was.
So they're all wearing these giant fur coats. I'm like, are those real fur coats? She goes, yeah. It's like, but they're like from like the 50s and stuff. Like they were old coats that are from dead animals, way dead.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry, And I go, well, that's kind of awkward that, like everybody's got these giant fur coats that are, quote, fair trade and like dead.
Fair trade.
And I go, isn't that kind of against the things? Like, yeah, that's kind of a good point. But I'm a vegan. I love the animals. I hate to see them dead and vegan. And like just saying, she's pronouncing like how much she goes on about how much she's like cares about nature and the ecosystem and the environment, and we're all together in this whole thing. But also she also wants to party because she's like, she wants to party because everything's gone, the world's going to shit, and she just wants to party it out. You can't, for me, and I'm sure for you, you either take one or the other. And if you're gonna be an activist,
I like to live in a complete state of not deluding myself. I know what I'm doing. I'm not trying to pretend I'm doing anything better. I'm not trying to virtue signal or claim I'm doing anything for moral reasons. I know what I'm doing.
yeah,
And I'm not going to bullshit anyone about it.
yeah.
And I really can't stand people that go ahead and do that bullshit themselves.
Yeah. Here's the moment I found out that she was officially full of shit. I mean, I had my hunches, as I do.
Anyone that works at a fucking hippie festival, I'd have my hunches too.
She wasn't working.
She was a DJ manager.
She was not working. So I go to there's a pizza place. It's actually Rock and Roll Pizza. I'll give them a shout out. They
Rock
were
and Roll
nice. I went to
Pizza.
go Rock and Roll Pizza out in Moore Park.
Get your rock and roll pizza on.
It was great. I went over to the place, ordered a couple slices of pizza, get some for lunch.
Get
and
that
stuff.
pizza. It's good.
Everybody likes pizza,
Everybody likes pizza.
and it was great. They were playing Joni Mitchell, which is
Nice.
like the Blue album, and I bonded with the guy who was listening with like I love this album. Like, I love this album too. So that album
You
is
probably both love pizza too.
I probably both love pizza.
Oh, yeah.
And anyway, the Joni Mitchell was
Get it.
refreshing to listen to after like nonstop EDM. And I go back to, and I finally go back to the backstage like tent.
And you're
And
just
she's-
greeted with,
Yes. And then this lady goes,
"Where's my pizza?"
exactly. Oh, you brought me pizza. Thank you so
Did
much.
she actually?
Yes.
All right.
And I go, you said you were vegan. You ain't getting none of this.
Cheese, excuse me,
She goes,
comes
oh
from
my gosh.
milk.
Oh my gosh, you caught me. Oh my gosh, you remembered. You said that. Oh my gosh.
What the fuck?
I mean, seriously, like
Bitch, a psychopath
I
or
brought my own.
something?
I brought my own camping chair, and there was like a small like love seat couch, and that was the
You
only.
bring your own dictionary, just be like, "Fuck you." That's what a vegan is.
Yeah, and I basically, she'd like I'd be sitting down in one of the chairs, and she goes, "Sit up," like you should sit up and let the artist sit down and all that. He's like,
Like she'd be like,
and I go,
"I'm hungry
you
for
you
cheese."
should get your own like you should have just a special chair just for you. I'm like, that is my special chair. I brought it with me. She goes, oh, that's so funny. Yeah, fuck you.
Fuck. Was she constantly being like,
Yes, she was.
oh, yeah. There
No,
you go,
yeah,
mate.
they all were.
Coke, the wealthy person's
It
drug.
was all Coke and ketamine.
Special K, mate.
Coke and ketamine. And queef of the week to that lady.
Fuck off.
So, anyway.
Yeah, that sounds awful.
Yeah.
Sorry, continue, Steve.
So, anyway, half the times I was basically solving their problems.
Oh, yeah, no, it sounds like a very...
They made such a mess in that green room. They'd bring the alcohol. They'd bring all the...
Well, as
You weren't supposed to
someone
have-
that doesn't really party heavily, you're in the rare. A lot of workers will be fine tolerating this shit because they get paid in some Coke or some whatever.
And,
You're not taking the whatever. You're not like you going
No,
full
no.
degenerate.
No.
So
And
that's why a lot of these guys take these gigs is because they know that drunk pussy, underage pussy, free Coke, all this
Yeah.
like whatever shit. You're not going for that. So
I'm
you
going there
see,
for- I'm there
you,
going there
You
for-
don't get any of the benefits.
I'm going there for cash money.
If we can call them benefits. No.
I'm going for cash money, homie.
Yeah.
And I think there was a point. Now, this is a great little story I'm going to tell you. Basically, this is the Saturday night to Sunday morning stint. And this is the point. I was able to get reinforcements to help me out, and I could go to bed. And that night I was feeling pretty good. I got like some hours off in the evening or the late afternoon. So I fried up a ribeye steak. I had a glass of wine. I got a shower. I was feeling pretty freaking good, right?
There you go.
And then it started. That whole at around like 10, 8, 9-ish through 11 o'clock. And I was actually trying to work on some stuff. And then that lady was like, what are you working on? I'm like, I'm working on my podcast. You have a podcast? Why are you working? You're supposed to be working. I'm like, this is my job. Like, I'm to make sure that doesn't blow up. That is my job.
Yeah.
Like,
So
man,
this
the
is not
clock.
blowing
Why
up.
are you working on the clock? I'm like, fuck off. I didn't say that to her, but I really should have. I have to keep it pro.
Well.
Even though she's like, none of these people had radios because they weren't officially working for the staff.
Yeah, I don't doubt that.
Anyway, the night goes on and on and on and on and on and on, and I just started hurting. I couldn't get the help I needed. They wanted to have fun, and I'm like, fuck, just have fun, do it, whatever, go do your thing. Because he
Yep.
helped me out the night before, and so I tried to sleep, and I could see all these people were there all night. I could see the people in the crowd just going at it, and these DJs was changed sets. And there's a couple times they told me to turn it down, and I gladly turned it down because the people in the camps were trying to sleep too.
Yeah.
They gotta sleep, and the DJs don't care. Like, I turned it down. Like, it came down. So you're like, yeah, I gotta turn it down. No, and it needs to be loud. I go, no, it's not. It's gonna be loud. You put they shut down another camp the night before. They shut another little venue or whatever the night
The
before.
cops did?
The festival did. The top brass, they shut them down, which is why they went to 11 because all those DJs went to the stage I was supposed to
Gotcha.
be at. I knew I was going to be in it for a long time. So I tried to sleep when I was trying to fade in and out. I was trying to read like Nietzsche or something grounding, or I was trying to like fade in and out of sleep, and people would come. And then, these guys set changes, and they all hang up on the stage and they switch over to the DJ sets, and it's so seamless you can't tell who. And the music's so homogenous you can't tell who changed sets and
It
other
can
styles.
be tough. It's if you're not on the drugs that the audience is on, you don't get it.
Yeah, no, I figured that one out fast. And I'm starting to lose it. Like, I'm losing my emotional stability. I'm losing my composure. I'm losing I'm just trying to hang on. And the manager finished his set, left. Didn't come back till fucking 1. So I'm there, and there's another problem that came up where they switched the scheduling around, and he wasn't there to fix it, and I was there to fix it. And I'm like, I can't help. And I started getting into a shouting match with the DJs, and I started to freaking lose it.
no.
I basically went into a corner of the public bathroom, and I just bawled out crying. Not because I just couldn't handle myself emotionally. Because basically, when that sun comes up, I was thinking of the song by The Sun Is Coming Up by
Tom Waits.
Tom Waits. I was
Old
thinking
55.
Old 55. I was thinking about that song, and that reminded me of just dude, when the sun's coming up, everybody on NASA is just doing their sun salutations and stuff. I was when the sun comes up in the morning that I don't sleep at all, It's telling me to go fuck myself. That's the routine. So you didn't get enough sleep, you are going to be screwed for the rest of the day and the next day after that because you can't recover your sleep. So
yeah, man.
I started losing it. And usually that means I'm going to be stripped. And I just went off and I thought about every single negative thing. And I started crying. Completely just emotional release of just like almost that feeling of forsakenness. You're out with these weirdos that don't give a shit about you, and you are on your own, and no one's there to help you. That moment that no one's there to help you is kind of that vibe of just losing it. So that being said, I go up and I start cleaning up the trash because I'm sick of they leave the place a mess. They don't pick up after themselves. There's cigarettes butts in my cup holder of my chair. There's like
Classy.
there's just things everywhere. I start picking up the stage while the sun's after it's like 7 o'clock in the morning. It's the sun's well
Been
up.
a couple hours, hour and a half.
Yeah, and I'm picking up and I'm like, all I want is just a sign of home, something. And I see in the this bag on the stage, and there's a bottle, and I see the blue label of New Amsterdam vodka, and I'm like, thank God, it's a sign, right? No, it's not even a sign. Just this is like such a happy. It's like a sight for sore eyes. And then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna keep that handle. I'm gonna take it with me home because I don't know whose it is. I'm taking this.
Yeah, they're gonna leave cig butts in your fucking.
Yeah, fuck these guys. I'm stealing their vodka.
Yeah.
And anyway, we're picking it up, and I'm about to set in the set's ending. I'm putting things away to put it back up in the next couple hours, and I look at it. I empty that bag. The bag comes back up. I pick the bag up with the bottle in it, and the bottle's empty. And I'm like, oh no, I'm fucking pissed.
Damn.
That's a long setup to a payoff, but I was like,
Wow.
fuck this.
Wow. That's some fucking bullshit. I wanted to drink that vodka.
Yeah, I might have you come with me if I get hired again to do this.
I'll be there.
We're gonna beef it. I want to beef it while we're doing that, because that's the only way I'm gonna survive these shows.
Yeah.
I have to be beefing it in my
I'll
own
be there,
little
man.
world. And
I'll be there.
yeah, and there was no security. Like these people were coming in and out of the whole stage, so that was just like there was no like, oh yeah, come on back, we're all friends. Like, I don't know that.
Yeah. It's very insular.
Someone steals my stuff, turns the set down. Insular.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've got the pronunciation I was looking for.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I would I'd gladly come to this.
But
Anyway, yeah.
Anyway, the whole thing. That's the main story of the hell that was the main kind of focal point of like how gnarly it got to me, and essentially
No, that punchline, it pisses me off.
Yeah,
that's not okay.
and the best people in that whole park were the only people serving beef.
Hey man, I think there's a lesson to be learned from this story.
They were the chillest people. They were next to this, like, they were next to like two different vegan. It was a vegan truck and a vegan like soul food joint. And Ted, if you're out there listening to this, I did not eat the vegan soul food. I didn't. It smelled terrible. It smelled like the worst tofu smells you can think of. Tofu's
okay.
Tofu's okay.
It's good in miso soup.
Sure, it's good. Most like people who know how to do it right. But don't make fake soul food.
I think the idea of tofu as a replacement for meat is wrong.
Oh, I totally agree.
Do it or don't.
Yeah.
Eat meat or don't. Don't pretend you eat meat.
I'm with you there. I'm totally with you there.
Like that's
And these guys had Kobe beef burgers, and shout out to Bison Burger.
I want a Kobe beef burger right now, man.
They had so like it was the last night, and I already ate there before. And they hooked me up really well. And they kind of said, "Hey man, like they kind of figured out they knew I was like working there. Like, yeah man, awesome, just come on by anytime and we'll do something." He had like meal cards we can give them to get like a free meal.
Right. You assume they give you at least that when you're working the gig.
Yeah, no, that was good. And then I would pay extra for some. They had a cool kombucha place.
Yeah,
there was some good Indian food that had like lamb vindaloo that rocked.
Nice.
And chicken tikka masala. And so that was all. It was
my
really,
sisters made a good chicken tikka masala before.
Yeah.
That's fucking delicious.
So they had a really great Indian place. So this bison burger, basically.
bison burger, nice.
Yeah. Do you know them?
No, but it's just not a burger you see often.
No, that was the name of the company.
Oh, was it?
But
it wasn't a bison.
they serve bison burgers, but I don't think they served it at this event because it was limited.
Sure,
They had a limited inventory.
It's their premium 500 to 1,000 profitable markup event where they like can subsidize paying their everything. You know?
Yeah.
These events are the meal tickets of these companies. You know, they're the reason why they can do certain things.
Yeah, it's what the market.
It's like the Vegas effect. You know, like
sure.
Las Vegas franchises that exist there can subsidize your bumfuck franchise.
If you're good enough, yeah, it's true. If the food's good enough, I'm good. And they're the only beef place in town. I was down for it. But they hooked me up, and I went the last night. I was like, I'm gonna go get another meat ticket. I'll get a sausage sandwich and maybe And I go, and they closed down early because they wanted to hang out in the back of their kitchen, outdoor kitchen. And I go, hey, can I get a sausage sandwich? And they go, hey, just see me in my office out back. And I drove back, and they're like, I go back to their grill, and they're like, I really appreciate you being here because that tofu, I can smell it, just reeks. It's just driving me batty, man. And that vegan crap, and he goes, yeah, that's awesome, dude. Like, how'd you like the Kobe beef burger I had on Friday? I'm like, it's fucking phenomenal. I go, did you try the blue cheese? I go, no. Here you go. They just gave me a blue cheeseburger that was like...
Blue cheeseburgers are delicious.
They are pretty good. So they just had a bunch of stockpiling. Here you go, man. I'm like, sweet. This is great.
Yeah, man.
And they just gave me the sausage sandwich, a little garlic and sriracha. It was really good. And I go, you guys are awesome. You guys are just the best.
Yeah, dude. No,
they knew.
As someone that works I'm not in a food truck, but I work a job where I'm basically in food service. If you are cool and are friendly with the staff of any of these places, we deal with so much shit. Like when we get that ray of light of like, oh yeah, I'll hook you up. Like, of course, I want to do this, but I can't because all of you are so fucking dumb and awful. That I don't want to help any of you. Like I have to make $1, but like so many of you are so fucking stupid and angry and awful. So when you get like a good customer that's like, hey man, like I appreciate what you do. I want to be nice and I'm not gonna be like fucking retarded about it. Like
I was feeling a lot better. I just got like 6 hours of sleep. I just slept that from like 3. I got this DJ table set up again that on Sunday from like 3 around 1:30 and 2ish, and then 3 o'clock I went back. I just slept for like 6 hours. Came back, got the burger, got the bison burger experience.
I'm telling you, they probably appreciate you, putting in work and being nice. It's just
appreciating the fact that I'm not gonna
I shouldn't have to explain this, but like that's the thing,
Keep in mind, Moby was like headlining this show, and he's like the biggest
he's the biggest faggot.
He's the biggest like bully to non-vegans and vegetarians out there. He's just like, I'm better than you because I don't kill animals. It's like I don't really kill animals either, but you know what? I'm not gonna waste their bodies.
Hey Moby, do you buy things in America? Well, then you kill animals. Like, sorry, it runs deeper. This is not how it works. It's all interconnected, you fucking virtual faggot.
That culminated in like kind of like crazy weekend I had. There's probably more I could vent about it. I've gone on long enough. There was a couple of good things, a lot of like just crazy, not so good things. I don't get the modern hippie, man. I don't understand why they like electronic house music.
Ecstasy.
See, like when I think of hippies, I think of reggae. I think of Fish. I think of the Grateful Dead. I think of jam bands and reggae.
I think of the 60s and 50s when I think of hippies.
50s, they weren't.
I think of a time.
The hippies were not around
there
in
was
the 50s.
Alternative lifestyle that not only seemed idealistic but achievable.
50s and early 60s had like bohemians, which were kind of like hipsters.
No. What I'm trying to say is that not only did this lifestyle seem incredible and good, but it seemed possible. That has ended. You have to be delusional to believe it's possible.
I think
back in the 60s and 50s, it felt like it was possible. There was a real movement. There was a real turning point. You had the sexual revolution. You had the agricultural revolution. You had all of these revolutions happening. The things were changing, we didn't know that the police and the corporatists would strike back as hard as they did at the time. People really felt like this was the time. This was the moment where we could live differently. We could be brothers and sisters. It wouldn't have to be this fucking capitalistic bullshit. It felt like that at the time. Whether it was the drugs and the culture or the history and the situation, from what I know, it really felt like things could happen. And it all came crashing down. So, like, me personally, if I was my age and my perspective back in 65, if I was 1965 in one of these hubs for the new era movement, the hippie movement, I think I would have been swept under it, I would have believed in it, because at the time there was no precedent. It was a whole new thing. Nothing had ever been like that in the modern era, and that was special. But in today's world, it's too hard, at least personally, to not be jaded enough to see like, hey man, like this isn't gonna work. The whole thing failed. It's not gonna happen. You can't be a hippie anymore. It's just it.
Right.
Capitalism solved hippies. They took them out and it's over.
Sure.
There's no movement left like this. It won't happen again. We're more likely to be abandoned while the corporatists, the Koch brothers and all that flee to Mars or whatever, rather than we actually solve the Earth's problems. It's more likely that the Earth will be left to rot than we can actually have a positive change. Okay. It's over. So I can understand why people cling to that time, because that was a really special time and led to a lot of really special music. Like a lot of the 60s music is fucking awesome because it was just such a radical time.
Right.
Like globally too, like across
everywhere.
Yeah, at least the West.
It was the most unison, like kind of like where swing jazz was like the critical mass of like art and popularity.
Definitely.
The psychedelic 60s stuff was like a critical point of like art and popularity.
Absolutely.
And I have that great.
I don't think we've had anything like it since.
There's another documentary I want to show you. BBC documentary made in '68 about '67 and the kind of the summer
wow, they were really on it that well.
Yeah, they were really on it of like the
BBC is they've been pretty good at
they've been on point
documenting things,
and they were kind of like they kind of put it all together between like the Vietnam situation and
that's true.
The British like the commerce, it was all about kind of the art, the artistic. It was mostly about the artistic merits of pop music.
Right.
Back in
it's the first time it had really influenced a social change.
Yeah.
Since like the social impact of pop music had really established itself as like a real player in the 60s.
That's a movie I got to show you too.
Yeah, sure, I'll check it out.
Anyway,
if I have to reiterate myself, the hippie movement is dead. It's been dead for 49 years. I won't say 50. I'll say 67 it was still alive. So, the hippie movement was a real thing. It was a legitimate thing that had a chance, and it was soundly defeated, and I don't think we'll ever come back.
Everything I see about this event, I would agree with you on that, Matt. Because the whole thing, it became more of a...
it's a drug and pussy thing.
I wouldn't even... Like, I didn't...
You didn't interact with the people as much, but the ideals that drove...
The drug thing I get, yeah.
Sure, the drug
sex
thing.
I'm still kind of trying to figure out.
That's the guys there. That's why they're there.
Yeah, okay.
They don't care about the music shit. They really don't.
All the little craft vendors and stuff like that, and there are people trying to sell you on like the holisticness.
Guys never care about that shit.
I'm just talking about the hippie zeitgeist, the culture of what they think.
I'd probably reckon back in the day, guys also didn't care as much. They were probably even in.
But like the positivity of the whole thing, I felt was like, some lady wanted to go like sing a song to the angels. I want to sing praises to the angels and like rain dance and
like
stuff.
Christian angels or just
she was using
what kind of
she was
angels?
using Judeo-Christian angels.
Okay.
And like singing like
is that racist in 2017? I'm just being retarded.
Okay. I mean
Judeo-Christian values in 2017. Do you know what the whites did?
Yeah. Well, you can say they're Christian based on the angels, but it was like Michael and Gabriel and Raphael, and so anyway, I want to sing an angel. I want to sing a song to the angels so I can, to pray for the or sing for the water. Hopefully that works. I'm like, whatever. I don't like. I wanted to go because I was just about to go to bed. It was bad. How was your weekend? How was your weekend?
Friday night. Whew. Oh, that was a fun night. Yeah, we were also back at the Johnson house, and we didn't really do anything, but it's a good night. Saturday night, that was where the real fun was. So I came back Saturday, and I knew I had to clean my fryer. The cooks were so bad; it was foaming so hard. So I went ahead and dumped the oil and sprayed everything down. Bought new oil. And then I went ahead and got this degreaser that was in the cabinet, and I sprayed the whole thing down. And according to the directions, you let it sit and then you spray it off. And I've worked in a deli before. I've probably mentioned this on the podcast, but a degreaser is a heavy chemical.
Yeah.
It's something at least the one we use in the deli. If you got it in your eye, that was like you had to rinse it out and like probably call the whatever company
Poison
nurse.
hotline.
Yeah, poison hotline. So, coming into tonight, I knew degreaser was nothing to fuck around with, and so I cleaned the whole thing and sprayed the degreaser, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna go have a cig, let it sit for 10 minutes, and then I'm gonna go rinse it out. Fast forward like 2 hours later. Been having some drinks, hanging out with a couple roommates and whatnot. And I'm like, all right, it's time to cook some fries. So I fill the fryer back up
Oh no.
and chop up the fries, let them soak and everything. I cook the fries and it's fresh oil. Comes out delicious. The second I bite into the second fry, I realize I never rinsed the degreaser.
Right.
And I'm coming off of being drunk, serving fries to people, not myself. And I have this realization that I may have just poisoned myself and my roommates. God. So I'm just like, well, I could spend the time to look into degreaser on Google while drunk, or I can go ahead and try to figure this out right now. So I just tell my roommates, don't eat any more fries. So I'm still trying to save face. I'm hoping they'll tell me it's fine. So I just go outside and I call 911 and I just let them know what had happened.
Uh-huh.
And they were not experts. They had no idea about poison control.
They're a dispatch.
Yeah.
They will find somebody who would do that.
Yeah. They sent the fire department. So when they told me that, I was like, well, this is a big ordeal now. I was hoping they'd redirect me. No, not the hazmat. So yeah, I come back in and I let them know, I think you guys are going to be fine, but I may have served you poisonous chemicals that could kill you.
Yeah.
It's not a fun thing to say. It was awful.
How did they all take it?
They seemed to agree that like it's probably fine, because I told them what it was. It was the degreaser. They didn't seem to be worried too much. It was really more about me just being like, well, this would really be the icing on the cake of my fucking retarded ass life if I just poisoned myself and the fucking roommates. What a great way to go. But
I'd be pissed. I'm like, dude, we had like 3 albums in the works. Come on, man, you can't die now. We have 10 years to get as much output of work as we can.
Yeah, we got a lot of content left.
When you kick it at 35, we got to figure out what I'm going to do.
Yeah, no, it was
with the band and Lost Beat 6, and
we've got a lot of productions in the works, but at the time, 7 or 8 deep, and knowing the fire department was on the way, and just standing there explaining to my roommates that I may have just killed them. It was an interesting emotional experience.
Oh, so we both had emotional experiences on Saturday.
Mine was more of the just. And the best part is when the fire department showed up, everyone else living in the house and their guests showed up. So yeah, like pulls up and I'm like, "Hey guys, I may welcome back. I'm a fucking retard."
Oh my god, this is the DRE. It's the DRE.
And they showed up and they were like, "Yeah, dude, this is like a household chemical. It's not bleach." And I'm like, "Thanks. Goodbye."
Did you owe the money or
No, you don't owe money when you call 911.
I know, but like that. I mean, it's a public service, but
No, I don't know how they.
ambulance costs money. So I'm
Yeah,
saying.
no, they showed up and just. I tried to ask them when I called them if they could redirect me, and they were just like, "What's your address?" And I'm like, this is that." Like, I tried to explain to them the situation, but I called 911, which was my fault.
Yeah.
But had I called poison control, minimum $60 fee.
Oh,
By being an idiot, I saved everyone money.
holy shit!
Yep.
It just so happened that it worked out financially for you to call
everything-
911 and then
Yeah.
send out a team, a firefighting team.
The two firefighter bros were like total brodies too. They like smelled how delicious the fries were too, because they were still in the bowl.
Yeah.
They're like, "Damn, that smells-"
Nice. That's awesome.
And I explained to them the situation, like, "Oh, that smells delicious." It was really funny once they had showed up and everything had happened, but just knowing you may have poisoned your roommates because of negligence it's a particular feeling I've never had before, and it's not good.
No, it's not.
I don't know what I would have done had they died. Actually, I do know what I would have done. I would have died too.
That's true. And I would have been stuck on my own somewhere. It'd just be me and Ryan running the joint. I would have won the fantasy football league.
Yeah, maybe. But fuck, that was an intense Saturday night. Here's the thing. Jake hits me up 5 minutes before this happens. Mm-hmm. He's like, "Yo, it's cool if I come over?" And I'm like, "Hell yeah." When he gets there, it's like been 2 minutes since I left, and I'm just like sitting in like the front yard patio, just like. I'm like, "I'm sorry, Jake."
I killed everybody.
I can hang out for like a couple minutes, like maybe 15 minutes, but I'm exhausted. Like, I have to go to bed. Like I've had an emotional roller coaster. I'm sorry you had bad timing.
Wow.
He was like, "Is it cool to come over?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Minute afterwards, oh God, I just poisoned everyone. Call the cops. Call 911. They show up. They leave. 2 minutes later, Jake's there.
That's exciting. Not in a good way, but
No,
I think we both had our share of killer weekends.
Yeah, I'm just glad I didn't fulfill the title of that.
Yeah.
Philosophy 6.
Doing like Tom Petty tributes like a month later. I'm still doing Tom Petty tributes.
I'm still pissed about it.
Yeah.